Whoa. Aunt Mei is back and Jonah and Andi make a decision about their relationship. So let's break down Season 3, Episode 2 of ANDI MACK and find out just what happened. Rise and shine on, you lovely people. Lisa here, and it is Mac Attack time. Now, before I start this recap, first, I just want to issue an apology. If you watched my recap last week, I said some false information that I did not mean to. I mentioned TJ would be in Episode 2, I believe, and that was honestly my bad, because in my interview with Luke Mullen, he said he wasn't in the first episode of this season, but would be back, and in my excitement for TJ to return, my brain decided to process this information in its own way and think, oh, he said he wasn't in the first episode, he'll be back, that means he's in Episode 2, which he actually wasn't. I think you all have actually told me he comes back around Episode 4 or 5, so if you heard what I said last week and then watched this week's episode and then were disappointed and were like, Lisa, you're a dang liar, let me apologize right now. Please don't hate me. We all make mistakes, right? And don't worry, TJ will return, and I will do my best to let my brain not misinterpret information anymore. I'll try. I'm sorry. I promise. I'm sorry, guys. Please forgive me. But now, on to business. So this week's episode is called Howling at the Moon Festival, and I love that we're getting another piece of this Chinese culture in this episode, just like we did with the Chinese New Year episode, and it has a lot of those same feels. But what I liked most about this episode was the end, when we finally get to see, honestly, all our main characters in a scene together, because let's face it, that never really happens, because that's a lot of people to have together, but it does happen, and it's kind of a fun moment. And they got to do something that I've always wanted to do, mainly since I saw Tangled, but that's, you know, letting a lantern and lighting it and watching it go up into the air, making a wish. Also, you know, when Aunt Mei comes to town, Cece is once again in her I'm going to win and one-up you whenever I can mode, which has everybody pretty tense. Yeah, Cece is hoping that formally announcing Bex and Bowie's engagement will finally let her win this battle with Aunt Mei. Meanwhile, Andi's also trying to figure out what to do about Jonah, because last episode we had Andi saying that she just wanted to be friends, and Jonah saying, oh wait, we're still together at the same time. So what exactly happened after that? Well, let's talk about it all. Andi tells Buffy and Cyrus that she had no idea what to do in that moment, and she ended up backpedaling and agreeing with Jonah, saying they're still together. But you see, Andi has no idea why she said it, because we've obviously learned over the past few episodes that she doesn't really have those feelings for Jonah anymore. But part of her still likes that Jonah actually likes her. So it's kind of frustrating, and I get why she doesn't know what to do, but it's also like, girl, get it together. If you have any doubts, you already admitted you don't have those feelings, just let the boy go. But alas, Andi decides to invite Jonah to the Moon Festival party, and unlike Chinese New Year, this time Buffy and Cyrus will be there as well. So when Cece has everything perfect for this Moon Festival party and the doorbell rings, she thinks it's gonna be Aunt Mei. But it turns out to be Jonah, which Cece is not happy with, because she needs everything to be perfect, and Jonah showing up, yeah, that's not gonna make things perfect. But Jonah actually shows up to impress.
You
used the right dialect. You're dressed appropriately. You even brought me my second favorite tea. Get in here.
But that quickly goes downhill, all with one sneeze. Yes, just a sneeze. You see, Jonah decides to pick up a candle from the altar for, the ancestors and smell it. Now, I'm not sure why he would do that, because, if I would see an altar sitting there with all these candles and tokens and, things that, it's a shrine to ancestors, I probably would think it would scream, don't touch anything on this table. But I guess Jonah, he's not hearing that same thing. So when he picks up that candle and smells it, his nose gets a little bit of a tickle, and he sneezes, blows out that candle, and instead of snot flying on the wall, which actually would have been better in this case, wax ends up on the wall. Now, in a moment of panic, because Jonah does admit later he knows he should have let that wax dry before trying to touch it, yeah, Jonah tries to immediately clean the wax off the wall, which just ends up making that spot even bigger, messing up the entire wall. So, trying to cover his butt, Jonah enlists Cyrus to help, and then Buffy, but as expected, that just keeps making it worse. But it just keeps getting worse after that when Andi shows up and Jonah lets out his version of, Julia Roberts in Notting Hill. Instead of, I'm just a girl standing in front of a boy. Yeah, he puts his own spin on it to make it fit this episode.
I'm also just a girl.
standing in front of a boy, asking him to love her.
I'm just a boy standing in front of a wall, trying to cover it with toothpaste.
But then he also lets Andi know how he's feeling.
Every time I come to one of your family parties, I mess up. You deserve a better boyfriend. If I were you, I'd break up with me. That was a joke. Do you want to break up with me?
With this admission, Andy's like, okay, I think we need to go talk outside. And that leaves Buffy and Cyrus looking like they're the culprits when Pop shows up.
I don't know what we're gonna do about this mess. Yes, I do. It's nothing. I can fix it in like 2 minutes.
Oh, Pops, you gotta love him, right? I mean, I never for a second thought that he would yell at them because he doesn't seem like the yelling type, but I do love that he made us all kind of sweat for a second and then ended up saving their butts. I'm so glad that he is back and he ends up fixing the wall in a jiffy with just a new coat of paint. But outside, things are a bit more tense. Andi and Jonah have that talk finally, and Andi expresses that she doesn't want to break up because those words are awful, but she also doesn't want to be a couple either because she likes Jonah a lot but just wants to be friends. Andi's then surprised when Jonah says he just wants to be friends too, but didn't also want to break up with her, and he thought he only had two options: be a couple or break up as well. And it's like, hold up, back up a second.
I want to be friends too.
But you said that...
I didn't want to break up with you either. I thought there were only two options.
So we're supposed to believe that this whole time Jonah also wanted to break up with Andi but was too scared to do it. I'm actually not fully sure if I believe this. Part of me feels like he was just saying, oh yeah, me too, in the same way that Andi backpedaled on what she said at the end of the last episode because she didn't want to hurt anybody's feelings. And maybe Jonah's trying to save face here, not show that he's hurt. Or, I mean, there is the possibility this is truly how he felt and this situation gave them both an out and they're both now relieved to have cleared the air. Either way though, both decide to just be friends, but they also decide to not break up, which not only confuses Buffy and Cyrus, I think it confuses all of us. So yeah, they're not a couple, but they're not broken up. They're just friends. Yeah, it doesn't make sense. I don't know. They say they invented this, but I feel like it's just gonna cause problems later on because if someone new comes along and these two are actually single, but they're not broken up, are they allowed to date someone new? Just talking this thing all out and rewatching what they say in the clip just confuses me even more. So I guess we will find out what exactly it means whenever someone new comes into the picture to try to win their affections.
So we both want to go back to just being friends.
But you don't want to break up with me and I don't want to break up with you.
Is that allowed?
I don't know. I think we just did it.
So with this whole Jandy thing seemingly resolved, let's head back to Cece's battle with Aunt Mei. Now Cece thinks she's finally going to win this battle with Aunt Mei because she is formally announcing Bex and Bowie's engagement. However, Aunt Mei, she always is a one-upper, right? She brings along her daughter Ling as a surprise, who just so happens to be pregnant. But not just pregnant, pregnant with twins. When the mothers and daughters are then sitting together trying to bond, but obviously they're talking through their teeth because things are tense. I love that there's a mention here of the Joy Luck Club, which starred Lauren Tom, who plays Cece back in the day. Anyway, when Bex is talking about the upcoming wedding, she mentions she'd just be happy getting married at City Hall. And you can bet that does not go over well with Cece's attempts to outdo Mei, especially knowing what Ling's wedding and preparations were like. So when Cece, confronts Bex about what she said and they talk alone, Bex says that she just wants to do the wedding her way. But Cece says she wants to help plan the wedding and then, do it Cece's way and convince Bex, that it was Bex's idea all along, all these things. And, they say it could be a bonding experience, and I think Bex hears the words bonding experience and thinks, okay, maybe this could work. So she makes kind of Cece promise that, they'll keep things small, there won't be big fuss, and it'll be great if they don't have to invite Aunt Mei. That's actually something they agree on. And now it kind of seems like we've come to a point where maybe Cece has finally learned she doesn't need to consume herself with trying to impress Mei and outdo her. So now we just have to wait and see how the wedding planning is going to go, because I feel like that's going to be a really fun dynamic. Somehow Cece and Bex were able to make it work when it came to, working together to bring Cloud 10 to life. But a wedding, that is a whole nother thing. Cece also does get some satisfaction when it comes to Mei, thanks to Pops, who makes Mei and Ling take a picture against a wall before they leave, and that wall just so happens to be the one he had just freshly painted. So yeah, looks like Jonah's oops actually came in handy this time. The episode then ends with everyone at the park launching their lanterns into the sky, and they've each put a wish inside of one. Now they send their lanterns up, but someone's wish falls to the ground, and Andi is the one who picks it up, reads it, and instead of us getting an cliffhanger, we get this.
Whoa. Whoa. The lanterns. Whoa.
Well, while Andi is saying whoa, we're the ones sitting there saying, like whose wish was that? Because this seems like it's a pretty intense secret of sorts. What are these people wishing for? Who is it? Well, I guess we're going to have to wait to find out with that cliffhanger, and with that, we wrap up this episode of Andi Mack. So, quick recap, Andi and Jonah are now just friends, but somehow not broken up in their own weird invented thing. So, hopefully we've put an end to the Jandy drama for now, but of course, I feel like it's going to resurface when a new love interest walks in, because I feel like, as of right now, they've kind of portrayed Andi as a bit of a jealous person. So, when we saw the whole Buffy Walker Andi situation, like how she told Buffy she was fine with that whole thing until she saw Buffy and Walker actually together and looking at each other like they liked each other, and then she was all of a sudden uncomfortable. Is it because it's the whole you want what you can't have thing? Does Andi actually do have feelings for Walker? She's just kind of ignored. I don't know. Will feelings for Jonah be brought back up if Jonah finds a new love interest, even though Andi might actually know that she doesn't like Jonah that way? I don't know. It seems like it's gonna lead for a lot of drama, maybe. We shall see in the future. I'm also just sitting here waiting for Cyrus to get a really good, beefy storyline, and plus we also have Bex and Bowie's wedding planning to look forward to with Cece, so I'm excited to see what's to come. I do know there's some new characters, right? They've mentioned there's new characters coming along, which I think you've seen in promos if you pause it quickly. So yeah, I don't know. Let's see what's coming in the next episode at least.
That was great. So I gather you're a guitar teacher.
His guitar teacher.
Sean's got talent. He needs the right teacher, and it sounds like that's you.
Okay, so it looks like Bowie might have a new career ahead of him teaching music, but will this mean that he won't have as much time for Jonah, or is it a good thing? Will it not affect Jonah? I don't know. And we also have the return of the Andi Buffy Walker drama.
Guys, the Color Factory's in town.
I'm in.
Me too.
You know who would also enjoy this? Walker.
I don't want to be that friend that tells you what to do.
I won't invite him.
Great.
Oh, but that's not all. Of course, we then end this promo with a dramatic, I need to talk, we need to talk, whatever, and the zoom in.
Walker, what are you doing here?
We need to talk.
Alright, so what did you think of this week's episode? Do you think this whole Jandy drama is truly over now? They're in a good place and they're just gonna be friends? Do you think Jonah was actually feeling the same way as Andi, or is he pretending to ease his heartbreak? Whose fortune do you think Andi read, and what do you think it said? Plus, what else do you want to see happen this season? Let me know down in the comments, and then after that, you can check out the interviews that I did with the cast of Andi Mack recently, right over here, in case you missed them. And be sure to hit that subscribe button so you don't miss any of my upcoming Andi Mack interviews, because I never know when they're going to happen, when I'll see the cast at an event. You never know. And also, I always do recaps, so you don't want to miss any of those. My name's Lisa. As always, thanks for hanging out with me, and I'll see you again next time.